Hey everybody, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is the weekend again, June 8th, and this, of course, the weekend video. We'll take a quick look at what happened last week. It certainly was an interesting week with the jobs numbers that came out on Friday, and then, of course, we had all the drama that unfolded with GME and Roaring Kitty. We'll talk a little bit about that. And more importantly, we'll take a look at what we got coming up this week, possible trades that we can be looking at. So let's get down to it. All right, so starting with a quick look at what happened last week in the markets. On Friday, everybody was looking forward to getting that employment data, hoping to see a little bit more weakening or just expectation for flat job growth. But unfortunately, there was a pretty significant surprise to the upside in terms of jobs growth, and wages also ticked up. So unemployment rate did go up a little bit, but that didn't stop the yields on the treasuries from spiking as soon as we got that news. So they jumped up as the market continues to discount the potential for rate hikes this year, with the jobs and economy seemingly still strong. Although there's some signs there that the economy is weakening. We're getting more delinquencies and higher consumer credit on the cards. So it does seem like there's some signs that the economy is weakening, but it's not showing up yet in the jobs and wage growth. So most of the indexes managed to tick higher in the week. It was kind of interesting. The tech sector led this week with healthcare. They were the two biggest losers last week, and now this week they became the two biggest winners. Energy and utilities, which were the biggest winners last week, became the losers. So these really just flipped positions, kind of a strange occurrence. 2-year ended up pretty much flat on the week. We were down going into Thursday. There was some weak consumer data that was taking the yields down, and then this employment data came out Friday, just picked the yields right back up and ended pretty much flat on the 2-year for the week, and the 10-year was down just a fraction, but not too much there. U.S. dollar again ticked up a little bit on the week, and Bitcoin, you can see here we had a nice move up here, 69,300 compared to 67,600. And actually, I'm going to have Bitcoin. I'm looking at Bitcoin as a possible long, so we'll get into that a little bit later. And of course, I don't want to go over the week without mentioning this guy, Roaring Kitty. I had to throw in a quick slide here. This was the drama and the excitement that happened on the week. As you know, he posted his position in stocks and options. Earlier last week, he posted that he was going to do a YouTube live session, and of course that sent the stock soaring on Thursday, and well into the after hours added another $10. Then GME kind of got the jump on him. They announced their earnings early, and they posted a 29% decline in revenue. They did narrow their loss a little bit from last year, from 50 million. They only lost 32 million over the last year. So they did take advantage of this spike in price to issue 75 million more shares, raise some capital, because they just keep losing money. And what happened? He did do his live stream, kind of a bizarre live stream. You can see him here in a sling, and he put band-aids all over himself. Just a little bizarre, but entertaining to say the least. So on Friday, the stock gapped down and then sold off most of the day. It halted a total of 17 times on volatility halts. So it was an interesting week for the kitty and all the people playing GME. Okay, so before we go on here, I always like to do a quick plug for my books that are available on Amazon. You can see them there: Profiting as an Active Trader, How to Swing Trade, my oldest book, and my latest book, How to Trade Options. And you'll notice I do talk a lot about options trades in the room here, or on the video as well. So if you want to check those books out, they are available for sale. So let's get down and look at some charts here. All right, so let's start out by taking a quick look here at some of the indexes and how we finished the week, and what we might be looking for next week. You can see here, talking about the 2-year Treasury, again, just sort of bumping along here, just under 5%. It did look like we were going to sell off early in the week with some weaker data that was coming out, but Friday jobs numbers kind of pushed us right back up to that 4.9% level. We can say that with the 10-year as well. You can see how we, on the week, we looked like we were going to lose some of these moving averages, but the Friday price action on yields just pushed us right back up. Transports kind of chopping in a range here. They've been in a pretty significant downtrend, tried to bounce a bit here, but no bueno, and now we're just kind of hanging around here. No momentum one way or another. The transports, obviously, if you go with Dow theory, sort of a gauge on the economy overall, it does seem to be, we've put in a bit of a triple top here, or a lower high, and maybe a lower high here now. So it's possible we could be continuing to show some weakness here on the transports. Again, the Dow, we did manage a bounce back here on the daily, came back up. And now sort of threw an interesting doji candle on Friday. This is often a sign of a bit of a reversal. The volume was not very heavy on Friday, so not sure how much to read into that. We are trying to hold these moving averages, and there's the weekly again. This could be a higher low, so we may continue to push higher on the Dow. It's a little bit, there's a lot of push and shove going on in the market right now. You can see here this Thursday last week, we had a bit of a sell-off, and then we snapped right back up. Again, sort of look at this doji candle here, kind of looks like a reversing doji, and now you've kind of got one that got thrown sort of to the upside, not to the same degree as this one, but it really got bought back up from a significant sell-off. But again, maybe we did make a new high here on the Q, so it's continuing to push. A lot of the Qs have been driven, of course, by NVIDIA, and so we'll see what happens on Monday. We've got the split coming, and whether we get the sell-off, which often happens after a split, we'll see how that goes. Here's the SPY. It's kind of the same discussion here. This Thursday sell-off inside bar, we kind of lost this level, which I thought was important, but then we it was a false breakdown. We snapped right back up, and now we're back at all-time high. But again, a lot of cross currents in the market right now. But you can see here, SPY still in an uptrend, still holding these moving averages. So tentatively, cautiously bullish. IWM, got hit pretty hard on Friday. Again, fairly interest rate sensitive, and again here rolled over on a weekly basis. The IWM small caps the most sensitive to interest rates. And VIX, again, fear index down, back down to testing the lows. UUP, we had a nice up day on Friday with the yields going higher, and kind of rounding out a bottom here, maybe heading back up to this high on the UUP. Is going to depend on where our interest rates go. Bitcoin I'm kind of interested in. It does look like it's ready to break out, and I'll talk about this in potential trades coming up in the next section. But again, this 70,000 level, we've been testing it a number of times here, going above it and then pulling back, but it seems like it really wants to break out here. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so let's take a look at some trades that have got on, or at least current from last week. I just keep doing this Netflix trade every Friday when the options are going to expire. This week I sold the 652.50s around 10 o'clock in the morning, and they just expired worthless. So again, that's about the fourth or fifth time in a row I've done this trade on a Friday. Not really a swing trade, but it's just a trade I just keep rinsing and repeating almost every week here. It seems to work. Amazon is a trade I'm in right now. I just got into it last week. I was watching it. You can see here we're coming up, and it looks like we're going to maybe retest this high at 189, and so I'm holding on to that. Another trade I'm in right now is, I mentioned this in our trading room, long Caesars, and you can see here we had a nice bounce back long from a week or so ago on that one. And another one I'm in right now, I mentioned CRM. Gonna go look at this one quickly, and can see here it's had a nice bounce back. I am in this for a bit of a long haul. I'm looking at sort of 250 area, which is filling this one gap here, and then possibly even holding on to a little bit to see if we can get up to this 265 level for a gap fill on that one. XLU, that was one I was in. I've exited all of it now. I'm out of that trade. You can see we've kind of rolled over here on it, maybe extended. And of course, these utilities don't do as well when interest rates go up. So it did sort of break down here, and just got out of the rest of it. Same with GDX. GDX really took a hit on Friday. I had a little bit left of that one. Some gold plays, and unfortunately, again, it had a nice run on Thursday. Looked like yields were going down, but as soon as yields spiked up, they dropped again. So out of that trade. So that's the way things went last week. All right, positions I'm looking for next week. As I mentioned earlier, kind of interested in Bitcoin, and you can play Bitcoin now any number of ways. There's a number of ETFs out there that are allow you to play without actually owning it. So I've just looked at iBit here, but you can see we've had this range that we've been in right now. It's been between sort of 35 and 40 on iBit, but you can look at Bitcoin and it pretty mirrors this price action. But what I'm liking here is a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders here pattern. There's your neckline, broke out and pulled back and held that. And it does look like it's moving towards breaking out. It's really holding. If you look at Bitcoin itself, 70,000, as I mentioned, seems to be a level it keeps trying to get above, but it can't quite do it. But I think eventually it is going to get above there. So I'm looking at taking a position in Bitcoin. It's more than possible. It is possible that it could get to 100,000 by the end of the year here. But once it starts to move through that 70, if it can stay above it, it could really break higher, and there's nothing really stopping it. There's no overhead supply once we break into new ground there. AMD, I'm looking at AMD. Again, bit of an inverted head and shoulders. And you can see here we've come up and we're kind of trading in this trading range right here. And kind of looks like we want to break out, but we could be stuck in this range. But again, keeping an eye on this sort of 170 level, if we can break out above that, could be a good long for move back up to 180, 184, maybe in that area. So that's kind of an interesting stock for next week, AMD. Let's take a look. Next one up is CrowdStrike. Again, we had this big sell-off, and it came back after earnings, and now it seems to be moving out, looking like it's gonna challenge this high anyway. And so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. This might be an area where it'll stall out. Might be actually a good options play to sell some upside calls, but if it does keep moving here, it could be a good long. Certainly, we've established a bottom here where these moving averages are around 335-ish, 330. So it may be again an options play to sell some, sell some options down there and collect the premium. NVIDIA, obviously I'm going to be watching NVIDIA next week. It's going to start trading in the new week, down around $120 probably, because it went out about $1,200. So it'll be interesting to see how it performs after the split, because sometimes these split trades will sell off, sort of a sell the news. So I'll be watching for that one. If it does sell off, I'll be watching for a bottom on that because I still think there's a pretty strong bid. And I'm half on the fence that I don't even think it is going to sell off, but we'll see what happens. Apple's the final one I'm looking at this next week. At least right now, you can see we're right up back at near a high, which was established back at the end of the year, 2023. And this, of course, we're running into this Apple Developer Conference, which is starting on Monday. So again, is it going to be a sell the news event? It's going to depend what they say about AI, because I think there's a lot of anticipation that Apple's going to talk about AI. I think it's probably going to disappoint. But again, I'll let the price action tell me that. Apple tends to be a follower, so we'll see what happens when the sort of this event starts to happen and kind of the news that comes out on it. So some stocks to watch for next week. I think there's some good possibilities for some moves here. All right, let's wrap things up here. June 10th, what do we got going on next week? In terms of economic events and earnings, there are your levels on the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM, support and resistance levels. You see for economic events, we were in a quiet period because the FOMC is going to announce their rate hike decision at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. There is an expectation that there will be no movement. So what may move the markets is Powell stepping to the mic at 2:30. But before that, 8:30 on Wednesday morning, we do have CPI data coming out. So again, a read on inflation, which will also have probably some impact on the opening at the market on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll have PPI data, a bit more forward-looking because producer price indexes or movement tends to lead what the consumer sees. So, and then 10 o'clock on Friday, consumer sentiment. Other than that, for earnings, not too much. We do have Oracle. We do have Broadcom, Play, and Adobe on Thursday. So there is a few little interesting plays there coming up this week. So that's it, everyone. We're wrapping it up here. We are live on YouTube 8 o'clock on Monday morning. Hopefully we will see you there, and are trading in the room at 9:30 where people can still stick with us on YouTube. So take care, everybody, and we will talk to you on Monday, hopefully. Bye for now.